what's up guys? Today we're going to talk a little bit about these classic TBird gauges, and because I've got a 64, that's really the one we're going to talk about. But I just want to kind of go over some stuff with these. So I have made another scratch on my car. I actually didn't by some miracle. So I have replaced these gauges in the past. This is what they look like. And the reason that one fell off is I wanted to show you how to kind of go through them for yourself. So pulling this out of the dash is kind of a pain. It's not really fun. It's basically paint by numbers though. Remove all the screws, top and bottom, and it will come out. Now, you also have to remove some of the dash, and you just kind of got to work through it to see all the pieces you have to remove. On the back side of these, there's several screws top and bottom, and then this will actually separate. So this is the portion that actually holds your meter and your speedometer. So the speedometer is on a wheel there, which is the classic design for these TBirds we're used to. And then on the back side, this is a good time if you've got that to clean all this up, which I did on the one I put back in my car. So these pods, which I have loose on mine right now, are very easy to replace. So if you can get yourself a hold of these pods, they easily remove. These are my old ones. Clearly that's why I replaced them. You can see the chrome is just completely come off of them. Now, one of the main factors I want to do this video is because something I learned that's being a pain right now, which I'm going to try and get, is I replaced all this dash, right? And if you do it, this is the time to replace the light bulbs in each one. Now here's why. Here I've got one gauge off, right? This one right here. And reaching in here, with my big meat hooks of hands, it's hard to get to that little light bulb. That's how I think it's designed to do it. But here's the problem. On the back side, you've got these plugs for each gauge, and you've got this little hole right here for the light. The light goes into this stick that sticks into the housing inside of here. Now, when you push on it, it should stay, but they don't. So they want to push back out of the dash. So essentially now I'm forced to either take it out, or I'm going to try and put one hand behind here to hold that rod from coming out, while I use my other hand to get in there to put the light bulb in. See the issue? It's a pain. So if you ever pull these dashes out, take the time to replace all the bulbs. Now, by some twist of fate, I was smart enough to do it on the bulbs inside here, so it should be good. But that's basically it. Now, the letters on the dash, these are chromed, but the insides light up green. I did find if you need to refinish them, there's a chrome Sharpie. It works great. You never know the difference, and that's what I did on my new dash. You can touch these up, but it's really hard to do, and it's really hard to make perfect. So that was the other challenge I've had. So anyway, this is the dash out of your 64, 65 Thunderbird through 66. Now the last lesson I learned is 64, 65, 66. The gauges were not all the same. They look the same, but they're not. So I would suggest reaching out to Dick Hogan at the TBird Specialist, or somebody that's had some experience with it, because some of the gauges, now that gauge cluster I was holding was actually out of a 66, and mine is a 64. Not really a big deal, except one of the gauges, forgive me, I don't remember which one, didn't work. It was different. I think it was the voltmeter. So if you're gonna replace the gauges, they might look the same, but they're different and they operate different, and it's a different power that goes to them. So at least that's been my understanding. If you're gonna replace them, I encourage you find one out of the exact same year. Even though they look the same, they are sometimes different. I'm gonna try and replace the light bulbs on this thing, so let's see how that goes. My story gets even more challenging. Check this out. So the pod itself is easy to take out. There's one screw at the bottom here. The top clips in, so you put the top in first, push down. Reverse to pull it out. Here's the challenge I'm having. See what I mean about these things falling back in the housing? Let's see if I can get a... So for whatever reason, it's really hard to focus. There we go. See how that falls back in the housing? My bulb is actually broken. So without cutting my fingers, I need to pull that light bulb out. Figured out the trick to this. Use this kind of bendy screwdriver. Push it right behind the chrome, and just below there you can just barely get just enough tension on there to hold that thing upright. Then I use my needle nose pliers to reach in there and grab the old bulb out. And I think I've got the new bulb in. Made it way easier. Let's try the next one. So this little thing has kind of kicked my butt for a little bit here now, but I did learn the trick. So basically, once I learned the trick, I went through and propped all of them in the proper position. You gotta use one of these. And if you use it, see how that hole right here, well, if you peek down here, because I looked at my other gauge set, let me show you. I was looking at my other gauge set, I was like, how can I get this thing held? If you look down, they're basically right there, accessible. So what I'm doing is I'm putting my handle here and I'm prying it just enough to get on the lip. And each one of those has like a little clip that holds it in. I don't know if it's gonna let me zoom or not. But this one was out of position, it was hitting the thing. This one was out of position. But now, if I turn my lights on, success. I got all my light bulbs working. So, needle nose for up here if you need them, but when I put the bulbs in, I just use my hand. I just use the needle nose to get the broken bulb out, and then I just kind of held just enough tension underneath each one to reposition it, and then held it until I put the bulb in. I'm super stoked. All my lights are working now. It's been a while since, well, they haven't since I got the car. So they're all fixed now. Woohoo!